So welcome back. Now in this episode, I'm going to answer your question, how to buy a rehab property. Now, my name is Ted Thomas. I've been involved in the tax lien and deed business for about 30 years, a little over that now. I started out as an investor. People asked me a lot of questions. I told them what a great business it was. How did I get in it? Well, I came from real estate, and then I found this business was not only very lucrative, but very few people knew about it. So that's how I got in this business, and I've been in it ever since. All right, now these properties are profitable. A lot of people like to do fixer-uppers, so let's talk a little bit about rehabbing properties. Now, this business works for everybody involved. It works for the county because they can sell tax liens and sell tax deeds. It works for the individual that's buying it because if you buy a tax lien, then you get an interest rate return. But if you buy a tax deed, you might find a rehab property that you're going to do well with. Now, everything's been around for about 200 years. I didn't invent it. I've just been teaching about it. Now, this is a rehab property, so that's what we're talking about today. These properties come from tax defaulted auctions. They come from foreclosures. They're found in all kinds of markets. For example, there's parts of the market that are in the country club. There's parts in the regular subdivisions with good properties and bad properties. But there's a lot of tax defaulted properties, and there's a lot of foreclosure properties. All right, now the foreclosures outnumber the tax defaulted properties by the hundreds of thousands. Every county and every city will be having bank foreclosure auctions every single day of the year. The sheriff will be selling those properties, okay? Now, some of them are out in the country club, some are just in regular subdivisions, but believe me, there's plenty of those properties. The difficulty with foreclosures is that the starting bid at the auction is usually something very close to what the mortgage amount was. All right, much different in the tax lien and deed business, but I'll show you that in just a couple of minutes. Okay, so the TV fixer-upper shows are talking about this all the time. They start out with a mediocre property at best, and they make it into a mansion in about 29 minutes on television. However, I wrinkle my nose up when I watch all that. Why? Because what I'm looking at is a pretty woman and maybe her partner of some kind, husband or business partner or whatever. They're rehabbing a property, and these guys have drills going and hammers going, and they're knocking down walls, and they're hammering on the roofs, and there's dust and dirt flying, and sometimes they're fixing concrete, sometimes they're replacing beams in the ceiling. I mean, they're doing a lot of work. So a lot of things are flying around, and they start out with a property that looks something like this, not too pretty, and they're going to try to make it into something good, and they do all that. But that's a very expensive, time-consuming business. So this episode is about how to buy a rehab property. Well, I can tell you right now, the best way to buy it is absolutely as cheap as possible. Now, people buy these properties with only a few $1,000s potential profit, and they don't make money because fixing property up is not very easy. All right, now every county in America, and there's 3,000 plus, will be having foreclosure auctions right now. So that means there's going to be plenty of rehab properties out there. Now, I know what you want to do. It's the dream, like you see in the picture. Beautiful house on the left, and then it becomes even more beautiful on the right. Well, that's an expensive process. So the before and after, if that's what your business plan is, you're in for a lot of surprises. So this is not a business to be in if you can't handle surprises and you don't have enough money. So there's tons and tons of foreclosures. Now, HUD, H-U-D, which stands for the Housing and Urban Development, they have thousands of properties that people abandoned or didn't pay the mortgage on, and that you can buy those properties. Sometimes they will, in cases, you can get loans on those properties from the government, and in many cases, they'll include money to do the rehabilitation. All right, so there's hundreds of thousands of those properties available. Now, government foreclosures are not something that you're going to be timid about. You're going to have to be aggressive to get those properties sold. However, they do come with financing, so that's the best part of the whole thing. Now, financing is always a challenge with real estate. So if you don't know how to develop money, you need to learn how to develop money. So every county will have grant programs. Every county will have some kind of financing for people that can't afford it. The point is, you need to start investigating those. So the government has lots of properties lots of programs, I should say, that will help you out. But I don't want you to be under the impression it's going to be a piece of cake. I said earlier, finding rehabs will not be a problem because every county will be having at least a sheriff's sale or a trustee sale this week because there's thousands and thousands of these foreclosures. All right, now, some properties, you're not going to have the ability to redo these properties. Some of them just have to be bulldozed. So really don't just think putting a little paint on the house and patching it up and it's going to work. This is a tough business. It's not an easy one. It looks easy when you see it on television, but it takes a lot of money. So recently the markets have opened up and there's lots of these things done online. Now, if you don't have boots on the ground and you haven't seen that property, I'm going to tell you, you better be very, very cautious. So this is the kind of business that you have to take a microscope look at. In this case, I got a magnifying glass showing you, but you've got to really look at these properties and be very, very careful. You don't want to jump into doing foreclosures or rehab properties unless you know. Now, can you find them? Yes, there'll be plenty of foreclosures from the banks. There'll be plenty from the government. There's always going to be foreclosures. The HUD properties are the easiest ones to find major lists on. They're in every county. All right, now what are you going to do with this tax defaulted property? This is a whole different ballgame. Tax defaulted auctions, there's only a few of those. Now, there's going to be 5,000 this year, but in comparison to the mortgage foreclosures going on every single day, and every sheriff is doing it, this is an altogether different ballgame. Now we're going to get properties not for the mortgage amount. Now we're going to get properties for just the back taxes. So this is a whole different ballgame. I'm sort of switching gears on you here because if you're going to get rehab property, this is the place to get them. All right, tax liens on properties and tax defaulted properties, those are sold at auctions. However, the starting bid is considerably lower. Now, when I say considerably lower, these properties are being sold for the back taxes without a mortgage. So let me say that again, a back taxes without a mortgage. So let me give you an example. Let's take a $150,000 property. It comes up in a bank foreclosure. It might have a $100,000 loan on it. If it has a $100,000 loan, that's where the bidding is going to start. So if it's worth $150 and you have to start at $100, you've got $50,000 in margin there. I think that's a little bit too tight if you're going to do a lot of fix-up work. All right, so let's look at that from an altogether different perspective. So the chart on the left shows a bank foreclosure, $150,000 value. All right, mortgage is $100. The starting bid is $100. All right, that doesn't leave you much room. Now let's look at a tax defaulted situation where the property value is the same, except now you're going to get a starting bid of $10,000. That's going to make a lot of difference. Now, I don't know that you're going to get the property for $10,000, but it's sure starting out a lot lower. So you've got a lot more room to work. So let's say you went to a tax defaulted auction and you could buy it for 25 cents on the dollar. Well, it's going to be pretty easy to figure out that that's $37.5. And I'm going to show you this in a graphic form in just a minute. But the point is, you're getting it a lot less money than you were if you paid $100,000. So now you have some room to work. So let's take a look at that same thing graphically. Property value $150. Starting bid was $10,000, but you paid 25 cents on the dollar. Now you can see there's lots of room to be able to sell that property. All right. Now I didn't try to sell it for $150. I'm just going to sell it for $75,000. Well, and I still am going to be able to make money. The point is, look at the math, okay? I'm just giving you an example. Is every deal like that? Now look, I'm not a CPA. I'm not an attorney. I'm just kind of giving you examples so you get the idea. I believe in buying them low and selling them low. So if I got a property that cost $150,000, had a value of $150,000, I would try to sell it at much lower than that so I can sell it quickly and not have to hang around. So I'm going to try and get it at a low price, and then I'm going to resell it at a low price. All right, now, HUD auctions, there's going to be a ton of them. Regular foreclosure auctions, going to be a ton of them. So what is our question that's on the table today? The question I'm answering today is this: how to buy a rehab property. You can buy all you want at foreclosure auctions. You can buy them at regular auctions. You can buy at HUD auctions. You can buy at VA auctions. I could go on and on, all the different kind of auctions. All right, I prefer to look at tax defaulted auctions, and here's why. Because I can get such a low starting bid. that I don't have to worry about selling. See, I'm more concerned about selling than I am buying. If I know I can sell it, then I know what I can buy it for. It's a different way to look at the market, but that's why we stay in business and don't go broke. Very hard to fix up properties and stay in business more than a couple of years. So I'll give you another student example and show you exactly what happens if you can buy the property right. Now, I'm not forecasting, I'm not speculating, I'm not expecting you to do any of those things either. So we're going to have a look at Doug. All right, now Doug paid at auction $61,000 for this property. Was it the greatest property in the whole world? No, but the market value was $168,000. So does he have some margin? Yes, he certainly has some margin. Is that the cheapest and the best deal in the market? I don't know, but he got it at auction for a very nice price. So he's got some margin. So if he sells the property and makes $25,000 or $50,000, I'm sure he would be happy, and so would you. Now, there's going to be some people are going to hold out for top dollar. I get that. Okay, that's not me. When I teach my students, I say buy it low and sell it low. All right, he didn't get it for 10 cents on the dollar, but he did get it around 30 cents on the dollar. If this is making sense to you, you're starting to see that there's a lot of ways to buy rehab properties, and this is just one of them. All right, now California has lots of counties. Each one of those counties is going to be having a tax defaulted auction every year. Now, sometimes there will be 1,000 properties at one auction. Other times in the counties with low populations, there'll only be a few properties. But the point is, these are tax defaulted properties, and when we start at the back taxes, it's a much different deal than buying at a HUD auction or buying at a real estate foreclosure auction. It's just a different ballgame. All right, I'm going to finish this lesson today by taking two questions. Okay, the question is buying tax lien certificates or tax deeds the same in all counties? Well, I want to tell you, it's always going to be a little different. So you always need to go and know the rules for your particular county. Now, I'll give you an example. In Maryland, one county will sell tax liens for an interest rate of 12%. Another county just down the street, 4 traffic lights away, is selling tax liens and getting 24%. That's how different it could be. Now, the rules are different at the auction. The sheriff can run some auctions, but with tax auctions, it's usually the treasurer that's going to be running the auction. The treasurer can change the rules right in the middle of the auction. So you need to read the rules and understand them if you're headed for auctions. All right, now I'm going to finish up now. So I'm glad you came. I hope you learned a lot. If you'd like to be involved, I have lots of other videos, but for sure, just below me, there's a free gift. It'll teach you about tax liens and about tax deeds. It's free. Go ahead and take advantage of it.